What I want to ask is my nanny okay? Yes. The Duke nodded again. Then Jean took out an envelope from his pants pocket. Can you give this to the nanny? Is this your request? The Duke received the letter and asked with interest. Jean nodded his head vigorously. In truth, he wanted to meet the nanny. He wanted to ask the Duke to bring her. But he couldn't say that. After making another promise, he had sent the governess away. Jean stared at the Duke in front of him. When he studied the noble families, he learned that His Excellency the Duke of the West was the most powerful person in the empire. He needed to become strong like this person. Then he could meet his nanny. Yes. When I become stronger, I'll go see my nanny. I promised. The Duke nodded slightly, as if he understood. I will deliver this letter carefully. Thank you. As Gerard stood upright, Edina looked at her grandson affectionately. Jean. Would you step outside for a moment? Grandmother has something to discuss with the Duke of the West. Yes. I'll go out. Olive leaned toward Jean and smiled gently. Little Duke. Do you have a favorite snack? Cake. Our pastry chefs make very good cakes. Shall we go taste some together? Yes, I'd like that. Olive politely escorted the young Duke Jean outside. After the two left, Gerard gestured toward a sofa on one side of the office. Please, this way. Edina acknowledged the courtesy and sat down on the couch. Soon there was a knock on the door and a servant entered with tea. Even after the maid poured the tea and left quietly, the two remained silent. Edina took a sip of the warm tea and studied the Duke of the West. Thank you again. For responding to my grandson's request. There's no need to thank me. A slight smile appeared on Edina's lips at the Duke's frank answer. Though she had known it intellectually, seeing it was another matter. How could someone so cold that not even a needle could pierce his defenses get down on one knee for a child? Actually, I had something to tell you, so I used my grandson as an excuse. Did you? His greed grows increasingly unbounded. The people are hungry and the nobles protest every day, yet he closes his eyes and ears. Sarcasm dripped from Edina's lips when she referred to the emperor. The Duke listened silently with an expressionless face, then opened his mouth. Let me ask you a question. Please do. Are you trying to support His Highness the Crown Prince? Yes. It seems the noble faction is trying to use you. Edina shook her head at Gerard's cold voice. His Majesty will endure it. The Crown Prince will be a great king. Of course, he would be influenced by the nobles at first after rising to power, but I believe he will eventually overcome it. We request that the Duke of the West join us as well. If only the Duke of the West had been on their side, the rebellion would surely succeed. Vines only protects. Gerard declared frankly. Who will you protect? Gerard remained silent in response to her question. As expected, the noble faction was attempting to install the Crown Prince. This would be the only way to remove the emperor. That was his first thought. But there was a problem. The Eastern Duchess said that the Crown Prince, who would come to the throne because of the aristocratic faction, would be able to withstand the pressure of the nobility, but had the aristocratic faction even consulted the Crown Prince about this revolutionary plan? If the Crown Prince were to overthrow the emperor and assume the throne, it would have been right for him to choose this path himself, not be chosen by the aristocratic faction. The Crown Prince would soon become Dia's husband. Depending on the Crown Prince's choice, the target that Vines would protect would be determined. After all, wouldn't he be swayed by the noble faction? In that case, he would need to at least make his position clear. I understand your concerns. So please, protect your people this time. Do you truly believe this protects the people? The Duke's gray eyes shone sharply. The question was whether joining the aristocratic faction was truly for the good of the people. Edina pressed her lips together. Edina could be confident that she herself had no ulterior motives, but she couldn't say the same for the other nobles. It was a moment when she hesitated to answer because she couldn't bring herself to lie. The Duke of the West placed a teaspoon across the rim of a gold-trimmed teacup and placed sugar cubes on either side. Her eye was automatically drawn to the small spoon. The teaspoon was delicately balanced on the teacup. Were those sugar cubes the people and the nobility? The imperial faction and the noble faction? Either way, the delicate balance would collapse if one side was chosen. The Duke was demonstrating that with a simple spoon. Being able to refuse so clearly without saying a word, it was a clever tactic. Edina laughed and looked up at the Duke. You are very clever. That's why I'm good with a sword. Edina laughed at the Duke's dry humor. This wasn't something she had high hopes for anyway. I understand what the Duke means. Edina stood up, feeling somewhat relieved. The Duke's first priority is to protect his fiancée, correct? In an instant, the Duke's demeanor sharpened. Naturally. Since you've come to the capital, you must have guessed what he wants. The South has been in an ambiguous position. Please be careful. Edina spoke softly and turned around. Dia and her siblings were sitting side by side on the sofa in the spacious living room, staring at the door. Today was the day they were supposed to meet the Crown Prince for the first time, so the siblings were extremely nervous. Dia, do I really have to wear this? I want to look cool, but this is too childish. Peridot pointed to the ivory bow tie around his neck. Being so young, its cute appearance stood out even more. Just as Dia was about to respond, Ruby, who was sitting next to Peridot, spoke firmly. Peridot, remain calm. His Royal Highness will arrive soon. Ruby, who was usually so gentle, was tense today. TCH, he hasn't arrived yet. But you must be composed because you don't know when he will arrive. We can't make a poor impression on His Highness the Crown Prince. It was during this exchange when Peridot looked sourly at Ruby, who was unusually stern today, that they heard the butler's voice beyond the living room door. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince has arrived. The siblings immediately stood up. The living room door slowly opened, and the siblings' nervous eyes turned toward the entrance. The Crown Prince appeared with wavy golden hair, golden eyes that glowed gently, and a smile on his face. He looked at those gathered in the living room. Finally, his gaze settled on his long-absent betrothed, Diameter. Alkivit approached her and looked warmly into Dia's eyes. It's been a long time. Your Highness, how have you been? I'm sorry. All his suffering, sadness, and remorse were contained in that single short word. Dia looked sadly at the Crown Prince's sincere expression. This wasn't his fault, yet he was apologizing. Please don't say that. Dia smiled brightly, as if comforting him. This is all my fault. A dark emptiness appeared in Alkivit's eyes. No, Your Highness is a better person than anyone else. Dia concealed her sad feelings and spoke more firmly. At that moment, a soft coughing sound was heard, as if breaking through the private world of the two.